Our guest here this morning that is about to join us is Abdisalam Adam. You have seen him on the news and in the Star Tribune. You've heard him on NPR. He's a Twin Cities Somali leader, and he's been a friend of Jacob's Wells for some years. And so let's give a warm welcome to Abdisalam Adam. Hey there. Might want to go around this way? All right. So, well, welcome back to Jacob's Well.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here. Good morning, everyone.
It's just a great pleasure to have you here for many reasons. But since we have talked last, since we talked here at one of our gatherings here with Jacob's Well, the situation for Somalians in our community has, if anything, gotten a lot more complicated, and I think that's happening every year right now. So how is the community doing? I mean, how are our Somalian neighbors here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and how are they faring?
Well, it's a question that could take a long time, but we'll have a short time. So in brief, it's it's a struggle that any community goes through. All in all, I look at the cup as half full. Yeah. The Somali community arrived here in the Twin Cities for the first time as refugees in 1993. So it's already almost a quarter of a century, almost 25 years. And a lot of progress in different areas, and then at the same time there are challenges. So when it comes to the progress, community is more settled, spread into different parts of the Twin Cities, or even to greater Minnesota. A lot of young people getting good education, businesses being established. But the challenges, of course, being a new immigrant community faces several challenges. Number one, it's a new immigrant community, and immigration is a big issue in America today. It's a Muslim community, again, with all the negativity that it carries. It's coming from a civil war situation that there is extremism even in Somalia, with Al-Shabaab still fighting the government of Somalia to the present day. It's a black community. So there are challenges, and of course education also. Many young people who had interrupted education. Traditional, historical Somalia also was not that highly developed country and not highly educated, so very few people had access to higher education. So many parents, when they come here, and many families, they see the American opportunity. They have that vision of America changing their life. Sometimes challenges come, but I personally view it as it's part of growth. Challenge makes you stronger. Challenge makes you better. And on the more positive side for the Somali community is resilience and adaptation and sense of survival, especially the family support system, the sense of moving for opportunities. So if somebody finds a job in any place in Minnesota, they would move there. Mm-hmm. Racism historically has not been an issue so much that as a community Somalis are familiar with. So they may not see systemic racism, but of course young people as they grow up may start seeing challenges and obstacles in their way, and their view might be changed. But historically, Somalia is very, in East Africa, we did have colonial experience. Of course, the colonization also really disrupted that country. Partitioning the ethnic Somalis into 5 areas of control, some in Ethiopia, some in Kenya, some in Djibouti, and now an independent country. They're all ethnic Somalis. Right. And then the country that was not Somalia is the British and Italian parts coming together in 1960. So the colonial experience, of course, has been very disruptive and very difficult to overcome. But overall, I'm optimistic, and I like it here, and most people like it here. That's why they came here. So
and we like having you here.
It's growing pains. That's part of life, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think those are some of the dynamics. I mean, you talk about the fact that if there's any community that maybe has as many things stacked against it in order to be successful, the Somalian community, you're black, so you have the racial difference, or you're immigrants, you have a different language, a different culture that you come with, a different religious practice, and then there's the tie to terrorism, deserved, undeserved is all, but all these things, and but I really like your perspective that says, how do we use these things, these challenges to make us stronger, and I really am a subscriber to this idea that when we see sometimes it looks like all the wheels are falling off the wagon. That what that really is saying is that now we're at that critical point. I mean, we're actually got all the pieces in motion that need to happen. We're not just sort of stuck back in the way Somalis were perceived at one point, but things are really changing, and you see that. You see Ilhan Omar, who's standing for election in November, and is very likely to be the very first U.S. lawmaker, state lawmaker. Yeah, that's. And I know, and you see some of that too. I just saw in the paper a couple of days ago, and I mentioned this to you too, about Kenan, who is a young Somali rapper and was here doing a concert, promoting a TV series he's doing, and met with a very mixed reaction from the Somali community. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. It's again one of those challenges of perception.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenan is well known. He has spoken historically in a very, very positive ways about the community and even Somalia as a nation. There's a famous, everybody familiar with the flag waving song that was used for the World Cup theme in South Africa? I don't know if people are familiar with that. So he was very positive, and so it seems he took it for granted, the reality of the skepticism and the fear about extremism and community being in the limelight with the recent, arrests of young men and conviction of some of them. So it seems young people are very skeptical of the system. So it seems he did not do his homework in educating the community about the purpose of this drama or series. And I did listen to him after the event, and which he was really taken by surprise.
Yeah.
He tried to rectify things by meeting with the young people. Why were they so upset? And so he met with them. He had long conversations with them. He did interviews with Somali media, even in Somali language. I mean, he's a young rapper, and he speaks good Somali, which I was kind of proud of.
Yeah.
So he kind of addressed the issue that, he made it very clear and very firm that he's in no way going to denigrate his community. The purpose of this movie is to the HBO is to change the narrative. He's going to present some of the challenges in a more different way. So he's talking to the mainstream American community. It's a long, maybe 50 hours from what I hear. So it's going to be ongoing, mainstream media, and families will be watching in their living rooms. So it seems after the fact, some of the young people say, "Oh, we misunderstood. We thought it was going to paint us as terrorists," and kind of feeding that narrative of anger and hatred and so on. So I think it was lack of communication and lack of doing his work, pre-work, I think.
And
I think that's the lesson we learned from that. Yeah.
And I think there's some suspicion that HBO was going to say, well, we'll use this for you to give visibility to the Somali community, but we'll really sell ratings if we can play up the terrorist connection. Right. So there's suspicion around that, and I know there's, with a lot of the programs, you were at the White House last year, talking about how do we separate these social programs you're trying to bring in to help avoid radicalization, but not use them just to spy on us.
Absolutely.
And so we got these well, what's really going on here things, and
yeah, I think my take on that is things are complicated. I think as people we need to step back and realize that there is no simple answer. Like some people, they will oversimplify, like when you see the anti-war movements or the peace movements or civil rights group, they will present everything, government or, law enforcement as kind of bad. And then the community, again, may be suspicious of that. So in the real world, we need each other. The community cannot handle its young, sons and daughters being lured by extremists who use slicky media, sources and internet, and they leave. Now we have mothers who are weeping and crying and upset. So we as a community, we don't have the tools to fight that kind of, tricky extremism. At the same time, the government needs the trust of the community. So it goes both ways. The answer is not simple. The government cannot do these things by itself. So the best way is to build that trust, be honest, keep the promises that, you know, the institutions promise, like, okay, you say, well, you're going to provide social services, you're going to provide jobs, you're going to bring in some funding for this community, improve the neighborhoods. Then if that's what you state publicly and promise, then you need to keep up. So right now what we're finding out, even though the intentions are good, with all the skepticism, people are asking, okay, we want to see results. We don't want lip service. We don't want our community to be stereotyped. Already we have stereotyping, we have profiling at the airports, and you know, so many hours. Some people, whenever they're traveling, they know, they plan ahead that 2 hours of their time will be just wasted for questioning, and they'll be in a room by themselves. So you just put that in your
you know, and as a young person,
you just travel, exactly, yeah.
Knowing that I am going to be treated that way,
yeah,
just does not make me love the people that are doing that to me. You know, and
yes, and that's the risk. I mean, of losing these young people. We need to. They're here. They're growing up here, and we need to, you know, make them mainstream. And this is your country.
So how can we do that? I mean, I think we talk about. We don't want to just be non-racist, we want to be anti-racist. How can we be, not just be non-Islamophobes, how can we be anti-Islamophobes? And obviously, I think it's by speaking out and confronting language and so on, but how can we be part of the solution for, you know, adults as well as kids? I mean, are there opportunities where we can get involved, and how do you see us as individuals playing a role in this?
I mean, all in all, I must personally, my own perspective as a teacher, as also somebody active in interfaith work and within the communities, I do really appreciate, you know, the Minnesota community's goodwill and willingness to, you know, welcome refugees. And maybe the question we need to answer is, why are Somalis here in such large numbers? There was no government plan to bring so many Somalis and say, oh, from the refugee camps, we're taking all of them to Minnesota. That was never the case. It was just a case of agencies sponsoring immigrants, settling in different states, and the ones who came here liked the welcoming environment that they had. The school system was very flexible in learning about all this faith-based, you know, accommodations and needs, employment, people were able to find jobs. And then Somalis are, one of our strengths is we're oral society. Our language was written for the first time in 1972. So word spread. This is a good place, and from that point on, right from the refugee camps, people knew they were heading to Minnesota, and then that's how this community grew. So we don't want to. So from there, you can see the good faith and the optimism and the willingness. So we don't want, after all these years and after all this hard work, to be damaged in a negative way, whereby this year, overall, for Muslims in the United States, and the Somalis in particular, this is the year that we have seen the most cases of discrimination or anti-Muslim rhetoric or even action. So what I would say is people just to step forward, connect with the community, come to neighborhoods like Cedar Riverside, Burnsville, Eden Prairie, where the community is concentrated, homework, help, education, opportunities, job, if you're an employer, give access. And at the same time, when you see racism or when you see these counterproductive measures, people doing that, then step up and speak up and say, okay, this is not Minnesota, and this is not what we stand for. So I think through that we'll be able to face the challenges. Yeah.
So spend time in those neighborhoods, shop at their stores. Right. I think getting involved with the schools, mentors, just create relationships. I mean, I think that's really what it's about. Right. Well, that's really good. I thought that you all came here because the first immigrants came in July and wrote back about the wonderful weather. But anyway, so I don't want you to leave. We've got a little commercial break from Jack, and then after that, we've got just a little test for you, if you don't mind taking that.
Sure, no
okay?
problem. Thank you. Okay.
Jack has heard a lot about group life. He used to be worried that group life might be weird or that he might get stuck with a bunch of weirdos, but he's heard enough from friends about it to get past that. Jack is a busy guy. His calendar is full with work, friend, and family commitments, and a long list of good intentions and healthy habits to work on. Now that you mention it, life is too crazy already. How could he even begin to find time in his schedule for one more thing? Jack remembers the boxes Greg used the other week. Maybe there's a better question to be asking, a better starting place than his calendar. Jack takes a deep breath. Joining a group isn't going to fix his scheduling problems, but maybe group life could help him focus on what's really important and deal with the craziness to get his world right side up. So he checks the group life box on his communication card and talks with his friends about it. Thanks, Jack. That was easy.
Yeah. Yeah, so join Jack. Check that box in the back of your communication card. So we got a little game for you to play, okay?
Sure.
And we like to do this. We like to bring experts in, that are very knowledgeable about something, and then ask them questions about something completely different. All right? And so put him on the spot. But you guys, I think he's going to want your help a little bit too. So we have a game that we are calling, is it Dr. Seuss or is it the Bible? So I'm going to read you a quote from one of these, and you have to tell us whether it's Dr. Seuss or the Bible.
Okay.
Okay? And they can help you, although I've known them a while. They're not, well, they may know Dr. Seuss really well. I don't know. So it's going to work like this, right? Like, this is pretty easy. So if I were to say, I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Is that Dr. Seuss or is that the Bible?
I'm not sure. Let me think.
Well, we'll give you that. That was a Dr. Seuss. So,
Dr. Seuss, yeah.
see, here's another easy illustrative one, all right? If the quote is this, and God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God saw that the light was good, was that Dr. Seuss or was that the Bible?
Since God is mentioned so many times, I would say this is God. I think, yeah, this would be the Bible, yeah.
Okay, is he right? All right. So someone keeping score here for us? Chris, you can do that. Okay, so here's another one. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you.
So that's affirmation of who I am as an individual, right? There's a lot of wisdom there. And both are wise. Of course, God is more wise than Dr. Seuss, for sure. So I would say that this would be Dr. Seuss.
That was Dr. Seuss.
Am I right? I'm not sure.
All right. All right. Here's the next quote. Hey, kid, if bad friends say, let's have some bad fun, don't give them a thought, just the other way run.
Okay.
Is that the Bible or is that the Dr. Seuss?
There's a lot of kids here voice we're hearing, a lot of entertainment. I kind of encouraging nurturing the younger generation. So since Dr. Seuss put so much time into education and the younger, so I would say this is Dr. Seuss again.
Whoa, that was the Bible, folks.
Oh my gosh.
I have to warn you, I'm pulling my translation from the GRV, the Greg's Revised Version. But that was the Bible. Okay.
All right.
Kid, you'll move mountains. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way.
That's clearly the Bible.
Answer? No, that was Dr. Seuss.
Is it Dr. Seuss?
That was Dr. Seuss, yeah, okay.
Okay.
You ought to be thankful, a whole heaping lot, for the places and people you're lucky you're not. What do you guys think?
That's Dr. Seuss. That's Dr. Seuss again, yeah.
What is it? Dr. Seuss, all right. All right. This one, well, I won't say. You are the light of the world, so let your light shine. Don't hide it under a basket, in a cave, or a mine.
Oh, that's God speaking directly to people.
Yeah, we kind of heard that one right over here a few minutes ago. Okay, that's a Bible. That's an easy one. All right. Okay. Make wisdom your guide, good sense your close friend. They'll keep you from mazes, detours, and dead ends.
Okay. I would say Dr. Seuss, yeah.
Dr. Seuss, what do you guys think?
Seuss, yeah.
What's the answer?
Okay.
Oh, it was the Bible.
Oh, okay. All right.
We know where Dr. Seuss got all his inspiration. Okay, we got a couple more here. We'll go through these quickly. I'm sorry to say, but sadly it's true that hang-ups and bang-ups can happen to you.
Well, I can see the rhyme in there.
So, well, yeah, a lot of Hebrew poetry in the Bible.
Dr. Seuss, yeah.
Dr. Seuss it is. Okay. Right. So, anybody? What's the score right now?
6-2.
He's 6 in the good.
He's
He's going to get my voice on his home answer
Abdisalam
machine.
has 6 correct answers.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm doing good. I'm doing okay.
All right. Be who you are and say what you feel. Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. I love, look at all the conferring here going on. No one's just like ready to give an answer. On
There's
that.
some temptation. I'm hearing a lot of temptations. I'm trying to hold back and trying to think through myself. So I'll say Dr. Seuss there again.
You are right. That was Dr. Seuss. All right, we got one last question. This is the final. This is the make it or break it. Take a look at that ant. You'll learn a lesson or two. It's working hard to be ready for what's coming up soon.
Yeah, there's a lot we learn from ants. Even there is the ant story in the Quran, so very similar to this. So based on that, I'll say this will be the Bible, I would say.
Think so?
Yeah.
He's got it as a Bible. All right. Well, good. So thank you for being a good sport and playing with us today.
Abdisalam has 8 correct answers and needed 8 to win.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm really honored. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Feel free to stand up if you want for this. Stretch your legs a little bit. We could have tongues of angels. We could move mountains with our faith. We could give everything away. But if we don't have love, we're left with nothing. We could see blind eyes open. Know all the mysteries of our faith. We could sing all the highest praise, but if we don't have love, we're left with nothing. People of God, rise up and shine. God's love, we are the light of the world, of the world. We are the light of the world, of the world. Love is what holds it all together. Love never fails, it never dies. There is no deep